It is CMS Music with Chris Akin, and I, of course, am Chris Akin. And joining me today, someone I'm absolutely thrilled to be speaking to. She has her and her band have a great new album called A Gentleman's Legacy. It's out December the 10th, and it's got a lot of questions. At least I have a lot of questions about it. The band is, of course, The Murder of My Sweet, and joining me is the always sweet Angelica Rylin. Angelica, how are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Sure. Well, Angelica, I've listened to the record a bunch of times, and it leads me just to a bunch of questions. So the most obvious is I need help understanding what's going on here, because it seemingly breaks a lot of rules with recording music. It's, as I understand it, and tell me if any of this is wrong, it's a concept album, but it continues the concept of another band's album, and that your drummer was in previously, but there's like a 14-year gap and all new people other than Daniel that made this concept come to be. Is that accurate?
It is. It's completely accurate. When I first started working with Daniel back in 2007, he had just released A Gentleman's Hurricane with his band Mindside.
Sure.
So he handed me a copy of this album, and I started listening to it, and I completely fell in love with the album. I thought it was fantastic. So at that point in time, I just had a slightly small wish that I had known him earlier, so that I could have been involved on this project as well. But I just enjoyed listening to it so much, going to and fro the studio and back and forth to work. And then we really started working together. We created The Murder of My Sweet, and he sort of switched focus from Mindside to The Murder of My Sweet. It came naturally, I think. We did so much with the band at that time. And I think it's always been in the back of Daniel's head, so to speak, to do a follow-up, to continue the story from A Gentleman's Hurricane.
Okay.
So I think we just arrived in a point in time where he sort of pitched the thought to me. It was just a thought at the time. And why don't we continue this story and continue it from a woman's perspective? So in the previous album, the protagonist, Adam Evangelista, he had a daughter named Pandora. So we decided to continue the story, the concept, from Pandora's point of view.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Now, I have to ask, because I've listened to the records over the last decade, and certainly I know of your reputation, with both with The Murder of My Sweet and with the various other bands and people that you've worked with. Doing concept of CIA type stuff does not fit the picture that probably most people have painted for you. Are you actually into that kind of stuff? And how hard was that as a creator to put yourself into that writing mode?
Well, I love a good story, and I'm a TV buff and a movie nerd. And so yeah, I definitely love storytelling. We did a concept album previously with The Murder of My Sweet, Bat Out of Hell.
Right.
And I really enjoyed the process of creating the story and being part of the red thread, so to speak, and also combining the different elements from song to song and creating a unity of it. And I think that's the trickiest part lies with Daniel's work, with the composing and the arranging and everything. Because you can come up with great ideas and great stories and topics and write a great story, but to really bind those songs together, and also do some tributes within the melodies to the past album.
Right.
I think that was the tricky part, to be honest.
Sure. What was harder? Was it harder to get your ideas of how a woman would be in the story into the new record, or was it harder to kind of convince Daniel to use the new ideas, because he probably came in with the ideas that he had from Gentleman's Hurricane from Mind's Eye?
You know, we've been working together for so long now. I think we have a perfect flow. Daniel has always been very open-minded to my ideas, and we never really struggled on that part, I think.
Okay.
So he could pitch me an idea, and I could say like, well, maybe we should do it like this instead, or I can come up with a topic like I wanted something about her relationship with her dad, and how she can view things through her father's eyes and things like that. And he just jumped on that idea and started creating. So sometimes you just need to give him a spark, and then he can create a boom with it.
Sure. Yeah. Now with the concept, you've obviously proven with this one and previously that you can do concept records. Do you feel like this concept is officially done? Is there thoughts that you might find a way to expand it in the future? Are there already ideas that you didn't get to explore on this one? Where do you stand with that?
You know, it's always sad to close a chapter. I always need to grieve when I have read a book, when I finish a book or things like that. So we haven't really talked about it, but I think with these type of albums, there's always a possibility to continue with something else. So you never know.
Sure,
we'll see.
Yeah, doing concept, I have all these questions about concept records, but doing a concept like this, how difficult is that for you to present it? Because it's, you know, you pull a song here and a song there out of the concept, and it really doesn't get the full effect. And obviously, you know, you go and do a tour, unless you're going to do a tour of here's the whole record from start to finish, you're really kind of pulling apart your own creation. You know, how difficult is that? Not necessarily for you guys to make the decision, but to make the decision of whether to take it out as a concept versus kind of pieces parting it into singles for concert or for the live setting.
Yeah, it's a difficult task. And I think also, especially when you think about streaming platforms, when you perhaps listen to them in a random order, right. Things to bear in mind. So it's always been important for us that each song can stand alone by themselves. But you get that extra treat when you listen to them in the correct order, and also when you can listen to the full album and not just the singles, and you get that, okay, I remember this. I heard this bit of melody in the third song that I listened to. So, but yeah, it is a tricky.
Sure,
part.
It definitely is. Well, Angelica, now the big question is, you know, since this is a continuation of A Gentleman's Hurricane, will you guys kind of adopt that record as your own, at least for the live setting? Will you try to do maybe a show that presents the full story, or is that just a crazy thought to take somebody else's album and kind of adopt it as your own to use, or what?
Well, I haven't really thought about that. That was an interesting thought. But I think A Gentleman's Hurricane is performed by a male vocalist. So we would have to really think that through and perhaps invite him in, or I don't think I could just take over all the songs as a singer, because it wouldn't be the correct way of presenting the full story. So that would be a wider discussion, but definitely an intriguing thought. Definitely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, and just I was just thinking more from the live setting. That might be even if it was just like a one-off kind of a live performance, that would be a really cool thing that nobody's ever done before, is taken somebody, you know, just like what you're doing now by taking another band's concept and adapting it to your band. You know, I guess the grandest picture would be, well, then you present it live, you know, and it would be like, wow, now that's something new.
Yeah, that would be something. And we live in such strange times at the moment where just the idea of performing live seems so far away for obvious reasons. Hopefully we will get past this pandemic soon.
Sure.
But it seems like it goes up and down, and we talk about opening up the society and then closing it again. So just being able to perform for a great audience, and even outside of Sweden, would be would be so fantastic.
Sure, definitely would be.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, as you mentioned, the pandemic has really changed everything. It's changed every element of it. For a band like The Murder of My Sweet, it has to be. I know creatively it's killing you guys to be sitting at home and not being out there, but does it endanger the band of being able to continue? Just because, let's be honest, you guys don't have Rolling Stones money behind you, where you can sit it out for 2-3 years. I mean, this is a long time now. Does it endanger the band's ability to possibly continue?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think the greatest scene today is online, and with the different streaming possibilities and digital samples of the music. So I think it's a different future that we need to adapt to, rather than we need to withdraw or stop making music. So
sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Definitely. So do you, and I get the various answers from this, do you have plans for touring? Do you have something booked that you're ready to change because of the change of the world? Where do you guys stand? Do you try to book, or do you try to wait it out and see what happens?
At the moment, we just wait it out and see what happens. Our greatest community is online, so we try to please them as much as we can. But it would be great to do a worldwide tour, or come over to America, or visit Europe again. But yeah, this is where we stand at the moment.
Sure, no question. Now, Angelica, the album comes out on December 10th. What are the plans, I guess, then for the rest of the year? Is it just doing as much press as you can? Are you planning any kind of like a live stream? What are you looking at doing?
We're planning different things, definitely some press, but then just getting together with our family and friends, celebrating the holidays and trying to rest a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, keep tabs on our social media platforms, and we'll see.
Sure. Now, speaking of that, where are the social media platforms, or what are the platforms that you're on?
So I would recommend people to visit Facebook.
Okay.
.com/TheMomsBand, I think. It's short. But just search on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, Angelica, one more time, the name of the album is A Gentleman's Legacy. It is The Murder of My Sweet. And Angelica, what am I missing that you want people to know?
Well, please go and check out the music videos for the singles. It's on YouTube. And listen on the streaming platforms, and keep an eye out for the release. I mean, it's just 10 days away. So
perfect. Absolutely. Well, one more time, the album is A Gentleman's Legacy. It is The Murder of My Sweet. And Angelica, thanks so much for joining me here on CMS Music.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for checking out this episode of The Classic Metal Show. Get all of our episodes uncensored at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. Join us weekly from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. Eastern at www.cmsradio.net. Participate in the live chat room at www.chatandkill.com. Once again, thank you for checking out The Classic Metal Show with Neely and Chris. Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and